Oh, we are live again. Oh, and I have been unmuted. That's good. I always forget that it mutes me while the video's on. Hope everybody is well. I can see one person watching, which is brilliant. So if you're about, say hello. Um, I just thought I'd jump on because last week I had problems with my audio and I think I sounded a little bit like I was in a tin box. And it turned out I had the wrong microphone connected. So hopefully this time my proper Shure microphone is connected and not the webcam, which is what I had last week. So hello, if you're joining me later and you're joining this on a replay, you're just as welcome. I thought I would just spend a little bit of time tonight talking about what I've been up to this last couple of weeks in terms of being retired and trying to find my vibe in being retired and trying new things and getting a little bit out of my comfort zone, because I think there's a danger if I'm not careful that I might end up just kind of, I don't know, getting too comfortable with not really having much to do. So I'm trying to stay busy in the nice way, you know, not that horrible busy where you feel stressed, but busy enough for it to be good fun. So one of the things I've been wanting to do ever since I retired was to go away in our camper van, Pete, which I've done lots of times with Mark, but I wanted to do it on my own. I kind of wanted to prove to myself that I could, which I did this week. I had an absolutely fabulous couple of days up in Carlisle. I was a little bit nervous about driving the van, I'll be honest. It's a 6-meter panel van, and although I've driven vehicles that big before, it was really scaring me to drive it. And a couple of weeks ago, probably a month or so ago now, actually, I had some therapy with a friend of mine who does various different therapies. She's so good. She's got loads of different modalities that she can use. But on this occasion, she was using an eye movement therapy to desensitize and to kind of dilute the memory that was causing the fear around driving the van. I'm losing my voice a little bit here. And I'll be honest, I was very skeptical about whether it would work or not. Bear with me a second, I'm a bit squeaky. Don't suppose red wine is the best thing to get rid of the squeak, but here we go. Is that any better? I don't know that it is. I think I'm just going to have to put up with the squeaks. Last week was the microphone. This week it is the voice box. So I had this eye movement therapy. I can't remember what it is. It wasn't EMDR. That's a different type of eye movement therapy. And I can't remember the type of therapy that she did, but it was really good. If you are sort of checking in, do put a message in to say hello and let me know you're there. It's always nice to see who's watching. And this eye movement therapy was just amazing. I literally spent an hour with her and we got absolutely to the root of where the problem over driving it was coming from. Because as I say, I've driven vehicles this big before and never had a problem. So we did this therapy and I knew immediately, but before I even left her home, she did the session at her home. Her clinic is in her house. And before I even left her home, I knew that it had worked. I just knew the anxiety around driving the van had gone. So I spent the next day going out. Hiya, Tracy. I spent the next day going out and driving the van with Mark with me, just doing a bit of manoeuvring and getting used to it. But I knew I wanted to do it on my own. I hadn't been in the van driving it just on my own. So we went away at the weekend. And when we got back, I said to Mark, my brother's going to Cyprus. He's emigrating to Cyprus at the beginning of April. So any day now. Excuse me. So I said, I would like to go and visit him. I want to take the van and I want to do a bit of a kind of a wild camp, if you like. Albeit outside of his house, but I wanted to sleep in the van on my own. which is what I did. Now, anybody sensible would probably have decided to do maybe, I don't know, a 20-mile journey just to get used to it and stay pretty local. But my brother is 200 miles away from me. So I actually did a 420-mile round trip on Monday and Tuesday in the van. Had no problems whatsoever driving it. I did find I was a bit nervous parallel parking it outside of his house. But I had this kind of realization on Monday night that I was sleeping on my own in a tin box on a road, at the side of a road. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit. But I wasn't nervous. Once I knew that the van was locked, I had to get my brother to come out and check the van was locked, because once I was in and I locked it, I wasn't sure how to test to make sure that it was definitely secure. But once I knew I was secure, I did have one of my little dogs with me. I had Mac with me. Not that he'd be much use. He'd just lick anybody to death if they came in. But I didn't feel at all nervous, which was absolutely brilliant. So now I feel confident to go away and do other things in the van. And that was one of the biggest sort of challenges I'd set myself in my early retirement. One of the other things I'm setting myself is to make a go of this YouTube channel. I mean, I've been trying to do it, God, for 2 and a bit years now, well, nearly 2 years. But my focus now is to really knuckle down on this. And Tracy, by the way, while you're on here, I watched your live stream with Andy about promotions, and it was fascinating. I had no idea about any of that stuff. It was just absolutely brilliant. I'm so sad I didn't get to see it live, but I did watch the replay. So much interesting stuff in there, especially around the analytics, because I don't really do the analytics stuff that much either. So it was really good. It was really useful, and you had some great conversations going on. I love your live streams though, Tracy, because you have this community that just have their own little they have their own party going on in the chat, don't they? It's absolutely brilliant. So I can see 3 people watching, and if you're about, do say hello so I know who's there, because it's nice if we've got a bit of interaction going. Tracy saying she's no expert on analytics, just follow the very basics. I can do the basics, but I would like to get a little bit better at not just like looking at them, but actually understanding them and interpreting them, and actually making changes as a result of them. I do tend to check, but I don't know that I necessarily do anything with the analytics. So if you've got any questions for me about retirement or about my YouTube channel or anything like that, please do drop them in the chat. I haven't really got masses of things I want to talk around, but one of the other things that I am going to do in the van is in May, I've got some work. I kind of never quite know if this feels right to say I'm retired. Oh, but by the way, I've got some work. I guess, yeah, it's about making the choice whether you work or not, isn't it? But I have got some work for the Royal Air Force again, which is lovely, because the Royal Air Force were one of my very, very first clients when I first left my full-time job and started my business on my own. They were my first client ever, and I'm doing some work for them again in Norfolk. So rather than booking into a hotel for my accommodation, I'm just going to take the van and be like a snail and have my accommodation on my back, so to speak. So I'm also really all work, don't overdo it. To be honest, how can I put this without being too evasive? The amount they're paying me for one day's work is worth coming out of retirement for, if I'm honest. So it'll give me a nice little sort of boost to my income. So I always said I needed a van when I was on the road a lot for work. I think, do you know what? I wish I'd done it years ago, because I think when I think how easy it would be just to take you home with you and have, because actually one of the worst things about staying out in hotels when you're training is they're never particularly comfortable. The Wi-Fi is often rubbish. You've kind of got to go and eat in the restaurant on your own, which can sometimes be a little bit. I mean, it never really, it didn't kind of scare me or anything, but you kind of feel like a Billy No Mates there when you've got nobody there. But having to have been self-contained would have been lovely, and then of course you wouldn't have to worry about taxis to the venue. You can just take the van, and it's everything on hand. But yeah, it'd be good. I'm thinking I might haven't told Mark yet, but I'm thinking I might make a few day trip of it. I tried to request one as a company car. That's a shame. It would have saved them a lot of money. It would have done. Mind you, the initial outlay is probably quite high. So I'm also looking for ideas for things to do to challenge myself in my retirement. I know, Tracy, you're coming to see me in April. And we're going to do some crafty type stuff with resin. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I want to try and do things that just put me out my comfort zone and try things I've never tried before. The only problem is I find it really hard to find things that pique my interest. I had a look at the University of the Third Age, U3A, and some of the things they were doing. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a boring person, but a lot of what they had on offer just sounded really boring. They had a flippin', what do they call it? A beetle drive? A beetle drive? That was one of their activities. I had to look it up. I'd never heard of a beetle drive before, but apparently it's a game and you have to put the legs on the beetle or something. I'd never ever heard of it. Let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of a beetle drive, or if you've ever been to one and did you enjoy it, because it didn't really sound very interesting to me. One thing they do is they do walking, and I do enjoy walking, but I'm a really bad navigator. My sense of direction is really poor. So if I go walking on my own, I'm always really scared I'm going to get lost. Even with Google Maps, and we have All Trails apps, but I don't trust my sense of direction well enough. So that's something I, excuse me, also want to get better at. Yes, I seem to remember my grandparents talking about beetle drives. I'd never been to one, but it seems to be all the rage at U3A. So maybe I should just go and find out what they're like, and I might surprise myself and find I enjoy it. I've totally forgotten what I was saying there. What was I talking about? Let me know, by the way, as well. Is my volume better tonight? Is my sound quality better? I think I've got the right microphone connected now, although I'm actually losing my voice. I don't know what's happening there. I didn't think I was losing my voice, and the red wine doesn't seem to be helping that much either. I've totally lost my train of thought on what I was talking about. I know I was talking about beetle drives. Oh, walking and navigating, that's right. So I need to see if I can build up my skills. Hiya, Leslie. That's good. I know I lost you. I think did I lose you last week, Leslie? Was it you? It was just not good enough. I totally get it. I tried listening back to the replay, and I couldn't listen to it. I don't know how the guys that stuck around for the hour managed it, because I couldn't have listened to it. So yeah, I need to get better at navigating, basically. I don't know how to do. I don't know. Is it a skill I can learn, or is it a talent and I just haven't got that talent? Is it the way my brain works that I just haven't got a good sense of direction? And I find I panic a bit if I think I'm going to get lost. So actually joining some sort of walking club would probably be good for me, because they can tell me where I need to go. But the thing with the U3A, when I looked, they each take turns every week at planning and navigating the route. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that, because it's bad enough that I'd get myself lost. What I don't want to do is get a whole group of walkers lost. That would just be embarrassing, wouldn't it? So yeah, I don't know. I would quite fancy doing some sort of art class, but U3A didn't seem to have any. And I don't really know where to start looking. I couldn't find anything, locally, and I've looked on Eventbrite and stuff. So I don't know. All ideas, any ideas, greatly appreciated because I do have time on my hands to do these things now. What I don't want to do though is sign up to something where it's like 12 weeks and you commit to 12 weeks because we're off in the van quite often. I don't want to have anything that's going to be tying that I can't, that I have to kind of fit my life around. I want something that I can dip in and out of. We're going to sort a craft class at least. Absolutely. You never know. I might get well into resin and that might take over my life the way it's taken over yours. What about one of Create and Boom's craft retreats in the Cotswolds? Oh, I've never heard of that. Create and Boom's. What sort of craft retreats? Do you have to have a level of skill in crafts already? Or am I going to kind of get there and I'll be dragging up the rear because they'll have to spend so much time teaching me how to do things. Create and Bloom. Oh, Create and Bloom. Okay, I'll have a look. No skill, watercolors, mixed media, and all sorts. Sounds good. It sounds good. I have the artistic flair of pretty much a blind frog. Oh, I did see another one of your interviews, but I didn't actually watch it. I might go back and watch that then. A 4-day retreat in the Cotswolds, with or without crafts. Sounds pretty good to me. I think we've got 6 people watching. So as I say, do jump in and say hello if you're about. And if you haven't got any questions for me, please do ask. My video today was an interesting one. Well, I thought it was interesting. I mean, it might not be an interesting video, but the subject in my mind was interesting because, as you will see, I have makeup on tonight. And when we got together last week or the week before, Tracy, I told you I didn't wear makeup anymore. But I got this thing this morning that I really, really wanted to put some makeup on. And then I had this big blooming internal conflict going on in my head because I've said I'm not wearing makeup. And then I wanted to wear makeup. And I'm like, oh, I don't know whether I should be wearing it because I've said I don't. And it was like the most bizarre internal head chatter. Does anybody else get that? When you have these like arguments in your own head. And then when I kind of thought about it and started verbalizing what was going on in my head, I thought, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't think, I mean, the fact that I kind of said, oh, sorry, I'm going to put some makeup on. What was interesting was the fact that it was all about worrying about what other people would think about me being flaky. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that comes from. Whether it's kind of an insecurity, I'm guessing it must be this idea that I don't want to be seen to be inauthentic. And I think the very fact that I do think being authentic is kind of bandied around a little bit too much, isn't it? People, oh, I'm being my authentic self. And I guess I just didn't think I would be if I wore makeup after I'd said I wasn't going to. And that felt a little bit disingenuous. So, yeah, very, very odd conversations I had with myself today. So, hi, Kim. What did you think of my weird... I'm just going to put this on the screen, actually. What did you think of my very weird train of thought around the makeup thing? It sounded daft. Even when I was saying it, it just sounded absolutely daft. But we can't always help what our brain does, can we? And it was obviously coming from somewhere. Claire, hello, Claire. Do you collect anything? I love charity shops. Oh, that's really kind. Makeup suits you however you look good without it, to be honest. Good filters on cameras. That's the way to go. Yeah, I do. I love charity shops. Probably a little bit too much, if I'm honest, which is why I've got wardrobes full of clothes that I don't wear. As for collecting stuff, no, I've never been a collector and I've never really got the I've never kind of got the pull of collecting. My mother-in-law was a big collector. She used to collect like is it Swarovski crystal? She'd have all of the limited edition stuff, and she had cabinets full of the stuff. And she also had loads of little thimble collections. And my mum used to collect thimbles actually. But no, I've never collected, well, other than probably handbags. My husband would probably say I collect handbags and shoes, but not in a collecting kind of way. I don't know. Let me know, who does anybody else collect stuff? And if you do, what's the pull of having a collection? Is it the joy of knowing that you've got something that somebody else hasn't got, or is it just what's the pull? Because I haven't ever really understood it. But charity shops, on the other hand, I just love a bargain. I'd rather go into a charity shop and come away with something secondhand that feels really good quality and I feel like I've got a bargain, than go to a full priced shop actually. And I always seem to find something that I like in a charity shop, and I never seem to find anything I like when I go into mainstream shops. It's quite bizarre. Yeah. Kim's saying it's not daft at all. This is about my makeup. And I do, you know, I think it's the thought process that was daft rather than the fact that I was kind of worrying about whether or not I should be wearing makeup. I mean, that's just bizarre, isn't it? But I think as well, when you put yourself in the limelight a little bit, when you do YouTube or something like that, I think what you don't want to be seen to be doing is, well, being inauthentic, and saying one thing and doing another. And I see this a lot. I think, oh God, I need to be careful what I say here, but I do tend to see it a lot with health coaching and health coaches. There are some brilliant health coaches who got into it because they had their own struggles, and the struggles probably still haven't gone away, but they've found ways to manage it, and they're great. But then you've got other health coaches who I think can be a bit preachy, and you think, well, I wonder if you're actually as perfect in your day-to-day choices as you're expecting everybody else to be, and as you're kind of portraying yourself to be. And I think I don't ever want to be that kind of inauthentic, saying one thing and doing something else, I guess. But have I missed anything? Have I missed anybody? Because it's not going as fast as it was last week, thankfully, so I can hopefully keep up. But no, I think I've caught everything there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do in terms of what I'm going to do with my time now I'm retired. I do have 2 YouTube channels, and actually, Tracy, you'll know this. It is quite hard to manage one, let alone managing 2. And my other channel is a vlog channel. I'll try that again. A travel vlog channel, all about our camper van travels. I'm really struggling with my words. And I shouldn't read comments and try and think at the same time because I can't do it. So yeah, the vlogs actually take a lot more time than the videos for this channel do, in terms of getting the footage and then editing. Editing vlogs is so much different to the stuff I do, sort of head to camera stuff. That's really quite minimal editing. But yeah, I think I had a bit of a mindset shift around my YouTube channel as well the other week, and thought, actually, when I was struggling with retirement, to kind of think about, well, what's my purpose now? What's the purpose to me getting up in the morning? And I realized that actually it's YouTube. YouTube is the thing that I never get bored of. I might get frustrated with it, but I never get bored of it. I never get bored of learning how to do all of this stuff. And I never really get bored about talking about it. And it kind of got me thinking about what I want to do with this channel as well, because Tracy, you and I talked about this when we met a couple of weeks ago. I feel as if this channel has been and is all over the place. So I had a little chat with ChatGPT today to kind of help me define the purpose for this channel. So yeah, I think YouTube is going to keep me busy. Let's have a look. Oh my God, you're Kerry's sister. Oh, she is amazing. And do you know, she was, when we were doing our TEDx prep, she was a little ray of sunlight, sunshine, little ray of sunshine. She's the happiest person I think I've ever met. She was always smiling, really, really supportive. And apart from anything else, her talk was brilliant. And the work that she's been doing is absolutely brilliant. So please say hello to her from me. It's a small world, isn't it? Yeah, I was worrying too much. I always do. So Tracy, if you don't follow Tracy and you're into crafting, particularly resin, go and check out Mini Scenes GB. And also, if anybody is here who doesn't know Tracy, she also has another channel called YouTube for Grown-ups, which is all about kind of teaching us how to do YouTube. But 2 brilliant channels. I booked in 2 more interviews to go out and do soon, trying to hold back and keep to just 1 a month. Yeah, you can end up getting really bogged down. And I know YouTube is your full-time income, isn't it? Who are your interviews with? I'd be interested to know. I take it these are these interviews for your YouTube for Grown-ups channel or for your crafting channel? Yeah, she is a popular lady. I'm not surprised. She, as I say, she was so supportive. She was, when you're doing something like that, we were all in the same boat. It was nerve-wracking for all of us. And the level, I mean, everybody was supportive, to be fair. We had a really good bunch given a talk that year. We just had fabulous speakers, and the coaches were really great. Has anybody else ever done a TEDx talk? Just out of curiosity, let me know in the chat. I did my TEDx, gosh, Claire, it must be 2.5 years ago. I think we did our TEDx talk. And it was just the most incredible experience. It was one of those experiences that I'd planned for but didn't ever expect to do. I always used to keep a vision board. I haven't got one this year. I haven't done one, but I always used to keep a vision board. And basically, it was a whiteboard that sat in my office. And at the beginning of the year, I'd do the whole kind of vision board thing, and I'd put all the things I wanted to achieve and do and what have you on the board. And it must be about five years ago or so, I went to see a TEDx event in Peterborough, and it was so good. And I remember thinking, I really want to do a talk. I had no idea what I would talk about. I just thought I really want to do a TEDx talk. And I came home and I put the TEDx logo. I found it on the internet and I cut it out and I put it up on my vision board. And it was there for ages. And we went through the whole COVID thing. So I don't know what the dates were. It's 5 years, isn't it, since COVID? So it must have been 6 years probably since I went to that first TEDx event. And then we went into lockdown and TEDx's weren't happening. Well, I think they were, but they were happening online. And I thought, I don't want to do it online. I want the experience of standing on the stage and doing it properly. That's no disrespect to anybody who did their talk virtually. I think that would have been harder because you wouldn't have had that audience energy. But I just thought if I'm going to do it, I want to do it on stage. And I kept this picture on my vision board for about 2 years, probably 3 years, maybe. I don't know. I'm losing track of time. And then I cleared my board and I thought, right, well, that's never going to happen. So I took it off. And about 4 or 5 months later, I was doing a business accelerator course, like a program with our local university. And I was given a business mentor. And my mentor said, you speak really well. You should do a TEDx talk. And I was like, oh, no, I've given up on that. And she said, no, I think you should. Let me get you the application form for Brayford Pool, which was the TEDx in Lincoln that Kerry and I both did. So she persuaded me to put my application in. And it's actually quite a long, convoluted process to apply. You kind of have to go through screenings, and you have to put your talk outline in, and then it has to be approved. And even when it's approved, you might get called forward, but you might not get through to the actual talk. So it was a little bit long-winded. This all started in March, and we gave the talk in September. But it was really weird that I'd had it on the vision board, and then it wasn't until I took it off the vision board that it actually happened. But it was just the absolute best experience I've ever had. And as I say, the group that, Kerry and the speakers were just so good. And we've pretty much stayed in touch, although I haven't seen them for a little while, but we had a WhatsApp group, and we used to meet up occasionally for dinner. And I would love to see them all again. If you're interested, my talk was ADHD in menopausal women. And I gave the talk before I even knew, I kind of knew I had ADHD, but I hadn't been formally diagnosed. And I think at the last time I looked, I think I was up to nearly 150,000 views on YouTube, which it just blows my mind, which is just incredible that you could reach that many people. Maybe, who knows, one day one of these videos might reach that kind of number. Be happy with 1,500 at the minute, never mind anything else. But yeah, say hello to her because she's a lovely lady. Right, I'm sure I've talked so much. I've missed some stuff. So Tracy saying yes, it's the grown-ups one. Custom carving and epoxy. Okay, so they're crafting channels, but they're talking about their YouTube journey. Is that what you're saying? Oh, Custom Carving and Epoxy UK was the guy that we were talking about, that you were interviewing today, wasn't it? Fish Shop Matt. I'm going to have to check out these channels. That sounds brilliant. Okay, so my cousin has a YouTube channel, does resin. I make cards, not on YouTube though, but I do. Oh, I tell you what, card making. I think that could be something I could get into. Is it, sort of, as long as it was kind of, I didn't have to draw things from scratch, but I think I could quite enjoy that, making cards. Oh, I like the idea of that. I hadn't thought about that. What's your cousin's YouTube channel called? We'll look it up. Oh, Tracy's asked the same question. We did. I didn't get to all of them because I'm actually I'm a good hour and a bit away from Lincoln, and most of the meetups were in Lincoln, but I did get to a couple, which was lovely. Kim said that my card making hobby turned into an expensive hobby. Yes, but I love it. Tell me a little bit more about the types of cards that you make, and are they painted? Are they like, do they call it decoupage? I can't think what it's called, where you have the different layers. You can tell I am not crafty. The first one, yeah. Okay, this is good. I love a chat. Claire's Crafty Corner. I'm going to make a note of that and have a look. Fish Shop Matt is almost silver play button. Aquariums. Okay. I should have probably got that from the title. Silver play button, remind me, is that 100,000 subscribers? I think it is. What else have we got going? It's all the crafty people in the chat. no, stamps and ink and colour. Now that sounds like something I could possibly do. Um, did you say, Kim, you haven't got a YouTube channel, or you have got one? If you have, I'll go and check it out. 100,000. I thought it was. Right. Well, you've given me some ideas for what I can do in my retirement. So I don't mind. I think I could probably manage small projects that don't take too much equipment, and I need things. Okay, so this is probably it is my ADHD brain. I know it is. I, over the years, have had lots and lots of hobbies that haven't lasted more than a week or two, because I tend to find that I get bored really, really quickly. So, what I probably need to find are things that I can learn to be reasonably proficient at quite quickly, that I can pick up and put down. So, things that, I mean, I can knit. I quite enjoy knitting, but I get bored with knitting quite quickly. So, as long as I can make something that happens, I can see the results quickly. I can do that. But anything that, you'd have to have patience and take time, and, if you had to do something one day and then you had to leave it to do its thing, and you didn't pick it up for another 2 or 3 days, I know I wouldn't have the concentration or the motivation to pick it back up again. I think I've got a bit of a weird brain like that. Um, what have we got? Card making is lovely to do. Scrapbooking. I Tell me about scrapbooking then. Was it like, how ignorant am I? I don't even understand what this means. So literally you just get a big book and you put scraps of stuff in? I mean, I remember scrapbooks as a kid where we would. Does anybody else remember scraps? You used to buy them from toy shops and things, and you'd buy sheets of scraps, and then you'd kind of swap scraps with your friend. Am I making this up? Do I remember this? I'm sure I remember. Used to kind of push up the scraps that you might want to swap with your friend, and you go through and swap the ones you wanted to swap. Does anybody else remember that? I'm guessing that's not what you mean, though, Tracy. It doesn't take bravery. It takes stupidity, I think, to get started on YouTube. That's a shame. No, I think it would be good to share. I always think it's good to share on YouTube. I am of the opinion that everybody should have a YouTube channel because it's good fun. Scrapbooking is like a proper paper craft. Let me put that on screen. Use your photos and make each page a piece of memory art. Okay, that's an interesting one. I might look into scrapbooking as well. These are good ideas. Thank you. Lovely coloured paper embellishments and such. Okay, I think in my mind I was thinking it was like, I don't know, a bit like vision boarding, like just cutting out scraps and sticking them all on. My vision boards were never works of art at all. They were very non-crafty. Let's have a look. Like making cards. Okay, I could probably do that. The traveling. Yeah, that's the other thing, I suppose. I need something that isn't that I can take with me. Not that we have an awful lot of time when we go away, because Mark has a tendency to kind of have us quite. We will be here and we'll be there and we'll be doing this, that, and the other. With your travels makes total sense to scrapbook. Junk journals. You see, I've never even heard of a junk journal. I do a lot of journaling. I must admit, I do a lot of journaling. Tell me about a junk journal then, because I've never heard of that before. Yes, what Claire said. Yeah, I'm kind of liking the idea of paper crafts. I like the idea of inks and stamps rather than having to try and draw things, because I can't draw. I definitely am not the artistic one in the family. The rest of the family are all musicians, but I didn't get many of the musical skills or talents either. Didn't get many talents, to be fair. Junk journals are journaling and you decorated. Okay. Okay. My journals are a little bit boring as well, actually. I don't tend to use multicolours or anything. They tend to be just, they'll quite often be doodles, but just like written journals. I never really understood, or I never quite got, I mean, I understood it, but I never got bullet journaling either. I could never quite get that. My brain doesn't work like that. Bizarrely, although I've got an ADHD brain, I have quite, I don't visualize. I don't do things in pictures particularly. I like words. I definitely, that is so true. I have a list of many things now to look up on YouTube. But lots of good ideas, and maybe I might even, who knows, share them. To be fair, I'm so rubbish at actually finishing anything I start. I started doing my office. I did a vlog a couple of probably about 6 weeks ago now, of the fact that I was knocking my wine, revamping my office, and I did all the walls, got it all decorated, and I'm quite happy with the decoration. But I've still got shelves stacked up against the wall that are waiting to be painted and put back on the walls. And this unit behind me here, which is a bit dark to see, that is meant to be getting painted. And I've got new knobs to go on, lovely little porcelain knobs to go on. But I've kind of lost the motivation now. So it'll sit there until I get the motivation back. I'll get a burst of motivation, and then I'll go, right, I've got to get the shelves done, and they'll be done in no time, but it'll take me ages before I actually get motivated to do it. Being a completer finisher is not really one of my strong points. Oh, I like that idea. I can't craft, but I'm trying. I don't. No, because I'll end up with 3 channels, and I can't even manage to grow 2. So no. I'm not. But maybe I could incorporate my failed crafting attempts onto this channel. Things I've failed at in my retirement. Oh, now that surprises me that you're not a completer finisher, because you do complete your craft work. That reminds me of that German band. You complete your craft stuff though, don't you? I'm a plant and team worker. A plant? Is that what you meant to say? A plant? Tell me what you mean by that. I don't know what a plant would be. Some junk journals are so beautiful. I have to think of my favourites. Joanna Clough is a young lady that's enviably good. I love anybody who's got the flair to make beautiful things. I watch a van life channel that I can't even remember the name of at the minute, but the girl is called Josie, and she lives in a bus, and it's a bus that she converted herself into a camper van, and it's just beautiful. It's like a little country cottage inside her bus. It's stunning. And I look at people like that and I just think, I so wish I had the flair and the imagination and the creativity and the skill to be able to create something like that. I wish I could remember her channel name. But her bus is amazing, and she looks amazing, and even her videos are very creative and aesthetic and clever. I guess we all have our different skills, don't we? But creativity isn't mine. Or maybe, do you know what? maybe that's a limiting belief. Maybe I just need to do more stuff and learn the skills. I don't know, what do you reckon? Can you learn to be creative, or is it inherent in us? I have quite a growth mindset most of the time, but when it comes to anything artistic, I tend to have a bit of a fixed mindset that I just can't do it. Let's have a look. Plant equals creative source. Right. I definitely have no plant. I'm a Capricorn, and that means I'm meant to have green fingers. But honestly, I could kill a silk rose. I have no creativity there either. And how people plan a garden is beyond me, because you have to wait so long for anything to happen. How can you plant something now and have some idea aesthetically what it's going to look like 6 or 12 months down the road? I don't get it. My brain just doesn't get it. Creativity does take many forms. I am creative. I'm not artistic. I mean, I'm quite a creative problem solver. I can be very creative when I'm designing lesson plans and things as a trainer, but I'm not very artistic. I think that's probably what I mean. I forget which management theory the team roles one is. I think, isn't it Belbin? I think it might be Belbin. I think Myers-Briggs is EF, well, I'm an ENFP, but I think complete a finisher, I think, is Belbin, but I might be wrong. Who else have we got? Giboneri is another favourite. Do you know what? I need to know if there's a way to capture this chat, because I haven't written anything down. And I want to capture all of these names, and they don't show when the live stream goes on replay. I'm sure they must keep them in my streaming software. Yeah, MBTI. Yeah, is like so. I'm ENFP. I don't know if anybody's had their Myers-Briggs MBTI assessment. It always surprised. Well, it didn't always surprise me, but it surprises me now, because ENFP means extrovert, and I can't remember what the other ones are. I can't remember what the N is, but it's feeling and something else. And I'm such not an extrovert, but obviously in Myers-Briggs terms, I did an assessment, just a mini assessment recently, because I thought, well, I wonder if I've changed. But in Myers-Briggs terms, MBTI terms, I'm still an extrovert, but I'm definitely not extroverting as much as, well, we talked about this as well, didn't we, Tracy? I definitely find that too much peopling drains me. I'm definitely an introvert these days. What else have we got? The chat should be recorded for replay if you give it a day. Okay. I will check my settings. That's interesting. I've heard that as well before. Extravert and not extrovert. So obviously with MBTI, it probably has a slightly different meaning. Yeah, I definitely get my energy from recharging in my own space and not from other people. Right, guys, do you know what? I think I'm going to probably start to wrap this up, because I do love a chinwag. I do love a chinwag. But it's getting quite late, and I'm sure you've all got things you would rather be doing than being here listening to me waffling on. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your suggestions on what I can try. I'm going to go and have a look at some of these channels. I do like the idea of card making, and the junk journals have piqued my interest as well. So maybe if I get started on some of these, I might share my my efforts. They may not be very good, but I will leave it there, and I will talk to you all again soon. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone.